All right, welcome into watching. My name is Adam Ottavino. I pitched in the big leagues for 15 seasons. On this show, we try to learn a little bit about rookies, especially debut version episodes of watching. So today, we are going to start with this guy, Trey Gibson. Makes his debut today for the Orioles in Yankee Stadium. Very interesting. I was reading a little bit about this guy, undrafted in 2020, signed after the draft, was suspended his last year at Liberty University. But anyway, let's get to meet him. 6'5", 240, 23 years old. He's from Newport News, Virginia, so right in the Orioles' backyard. Last year, he had a really good run through Chesapeake, which is the Orioles AA, where in 10 starts, he pitched to a 1.89 and had a .898 whip in 52 innings, 68 strikeouts, 18 walks, only 29 hits allowed. But he's found AAA a little tougher. He got knocked around to a tune of about an 8 ERA last year in 7 starts. And then this year, he gets called up here, but he carries a 4.01 with about a walk every other inning and a 1.622 whip. So kind of an interesting moment to get the call. But the Orioles are in an interesting moment themselves. They're not playing as well as they were hoping for off the rip of the season. All right, he is the number 3 prospect in the Orioles system. Here are those scouting grades: 55 fastball, 55 curveball, 60 sliders. So that's pretty good stuff grades right there on three. Those are probably the primaries, obviously. Cutter 45, changeups a 40, controls a 50, overall a 50. I saw he owns a 31.5% strikeout rate over the past 2 seasons, which is third among all minor league pitchers with at least 200 innings. So that's no joke. That's up there with like the Savage, Jonah Tong, like a lot of guys striking people out that are already called up. He's another one of those guys. All right, so he got to make his debut versus the red-hot Yankees at Yankee Stadium. So I love it. Get thrown right in the fire. His final line from today: 4 2/3, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs. I believe they all came around on homers. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, the 2 homers. It was Rice and Judge. 87 pitches. Let's see what he was working with in terms of mix today. All right, well, first of all, the Yankees stacked the lineup left-handed against him. He threw 63 pitches versus lefties, only 24 versus righties. That's the first thing. All right, slider was the primary, 23 of those, 17 sinkers, 17 four-seamers, 15 cutters, and 15 curveballs. So actually really spread it around. He threw every pitch at least 17% of the time. So a true 5-pitch mix in this game. Trying to think, what did he not throw to righties? He doesn't throw he didn't throw his four seam at all to righties. He was strictly sinker to righties on the fastball side of things. Sinker cutter. And the lefties he threw the kitchen sink. Really threw the few righties he got, he threw a lot of sliders. All right, what else we got? Averaged 95.6 on his four seam, 94.4 on the sinker. Not a high spin rate guy. Didn't get hardly any whiff in this game. The whiff he did get was on the breaking balls, which were the ones that graded well by the scouts. So 19% on slider, 17% on curveball. He did get 38% chase, which is notable because he faced the Yankees, and they're very good at not chasing. It's one of the main things that they try to accomplish at the plate. First pitch strikes, 43%. So he struggled with that. Let's just get to see him. Let's just see what we got. I love it. Never even heard of this guy until today. Major League debut, pretty big prospect. Let's check it out. All right, here he is, Trey Gibson. First pitch of his career is 96-1. From the looks of it, first things first, arm angle looks kind of, I would say, slightly high or right around average, I'm going to guess. He's on third base side of the rubber, so he's trying to create that angle going right to left. Can't really see it great on this on this camera angle, but it'll probably help his breaking balls be in the zone more. 15 inches of vert, it's fine. 96 is great. Spin is notably low. 1984 on the spin rate, so that's pretty low. All right, first pitch fastball actually gets screwed. That should have been a strike. No challenge, and it's ball 1 to Grisham. Now here comes another four-seamer. Very similar location. They're setting up a way. He's pulling them in, and he just misses by a hair there. Now he's going to get his first strike as he hits a spot. On the other side, that must be the parents. Grisham didn't like the call, but that was definitely in there. There's another fastball for a ball. Also, right now showing huge extension. At least on that pitch was 7-3. This one's 6-9. So anyway you slice it, It's an above average amount of extension. Ooh, and he gets hooked up with a really nice play by Taylor Ward here for the first out of his big league career. So all four-seamers to Trent Grisham throughout this at bat. This is 97, so he throws hard. I mean, he's been 96, 97 to open this game. We'll do the mechanics at the end. But you do see he's on the right side of the mound, fairly above average arm angle. I don't think the fastball has crazy shape to it. Seems relatively typical, but he does throw hard. All right, here's Ben Rice. First pitch curveball homer. So that's just rude. It's a good pitch. He's trying to flip in a curveball 0-0 to a good hitter, a red hot hitter, throws and steals strike one, and Ben Rice just doesn't let him steal strike one. Pumps it into the seats. For what it's worth, the pitch did have 21 inches of total movement, about 84. Again, he's low spin. But it did look like the shape was pretty good, despite the fact that this pitch was hit over the fence. Let's go in slow motion. And it just kind of puts it on a tee for him. But honestly, he accomplished what he was trying to accomplish. He accomplished it by throwing a pitch in the strike zone. He just got ambushed for the home run. Good job, Ben Rice. All right, 110 off the bat, and now Aaron Judge. All right, he's going to get a swing and miss on a first pitch cutter here to Judge. That's a pretty nice, interesting cutter metric because it's got a lot of horizontal on it. Negative 6.3 to the left, and 10. That's pretty lifty for a cutter, I'd say. At about 90. So based off the metric, this looks like it could be a useful pitch. And right on cue, he gets Judge to swing at a pitch above the zone. So we talked about the chase he got in this outing. Yeah, he gets Judge swinging above the zone there. All right, next pitch is that curveball. Didn't fool him, but he just missed it. I do like the fact that he got right back in the strike zone, though, after the Rice home run. All right, so 0-2. And Judge is going to put this one in play. This looks like it's the slider. First look at the slider. Ooh, and a boot city down there at third base. AJ is going to go to second. He's going to be in there. Wow. So who was that? Blaze Alexander? Yeah. Anyway, weird play. Let's look at the slider though. 89, -3, -4. Okay, so a little tight, short, depthy thing. This one almost looks like it backs up from this angle. He gets him to chop it in the ground, and really it should have been an out. So the first look at the slider is that it plays, but that's also the first one anybody has seen on the day. All right, so Judge is on. Here comes Bellinger. Man on second, 1 out. Four-seam fastball away, ball 1, non-competitive. Here comes a slider left on left. A lot of depth on the slider. Hangs it right down the middle. They've taken now a bunch of good swings on his breaking balls. But Belly's under that just a hair, which is odd. All right, 1-1. Now here's the first look at the sinker. Sinker has big-time movement to the right. 19.1 inches of horizontal break to the right. It's not incredibly droppy. At least this one wasn't. 8, so kind of like a normal amount of fade here, but it did go heavy to the right. And the extension's still there. That's 7'1" extension. So that means the fastball's playing a little bit faster than the number. And now he's going to go ahead and get Belly out on this slider. And that was a good one. He got that below the zone. I have a feeling he gets a lot of strikeouts on that type of pitch below the zone. It's got actual downward break on it, as you can see, -4.5 induced vertical break on the slider. And, we talk a lot on this show and on the live show and everything about this chase area below. Not a lot a hitter can do with anything down here, but they sure do swing at a lot of those pitches because they're over the plate, So at least, they're telling themselves strike a long way, and then it gets below the zone, and it's really hard to hold up. Anyway, that's what happens here. Belly does check swing it. He gets out, but you see he did a good job getting to that spot. So I'm assuming he gets a lot of strikeouts on pitches like this. A lot of chase. So anyway, gets the out there. Man on third, 2 outs. And he's going to start off Jazz Chisholm with a curveball, just like he did to Rice. This time he drops it in. So doesn't shy away from his approach. Drops in the curveball. Now he's going to go to the fastball. Target up away. It's kind of middle, and Jazz just kind of catches it off the end and flies it out to center. All right, so first inning takeaways. He throws hard. It's low spin. I like the shape on both the curveball and the slider. I actually really like the slider shape. Cutter shape is way different than the slider, which is good. So he's got a lot of pitches. Sinker moves. Um, be interesting to see what his strikeouts look like. I don't think the four seam is going to be a huge strikeout pitch. It's going to be a lot of chase below the zone. That's where I'm landing right now. All right, second inning. He's going to start with that cutter, and it's a nice first pitch strike on a cutter to Dominguez, right down the middle. Now he's going to double that up. This time target goes up in, perfect spot, and his cutter does have a lot of lift to it. So look, I don't love all righties trying to do this cutter game to the lefties if you don't have a good one, but this one's pretty good, you know. It does both. It goes left and it kind of stays up. Good place to be. You know, goes 4.2 to the left, stays up at 11. And you can kind of see it visually. Look at that ball. Looks like it's rising. See that? And then Jason has a tough time getting on top of that ball. Granted, it's a perfect spot. But that's way different than his slider, which has actual drop. So he's achieving a lot of different shapes pretty easily. All right, 0-2. There's the curveball. He's thrown every curveball so far right down the middle, but nevertheless, it's got pretty good shape, I think. Ground out. So I'm liking his breaking balls. Oh, I'm not loving his four seam. I saw it got a good grade, but we'll keep watching. All right, another 0-0 curveball. This time just misses a hair to the right, so it looks like he wants to use that curveball. He's got good command of it, wants to steal strikes with it to lefties early. Yep, predictable fastball there. Just misses getting clipped by Wells. I mean, that's just a fastball middle. All right, curveball off of that. Another backup. Just misses 2-1. He's going to go back to it again. Drops it in there. I mean, again, like, he's not getting them down, but he's thrown quite a few in the strike zone, and it looks like a comfortable pitch to him. Even his misses have been micro misses, in my opinion, those ones off to the right. All right, here's the slider for the punch. He's going to try to go down below. Backs it up a little bit. Weird foul ball. And then he's going to get his first career strikeout here on that slider. And yes, he gets it to the dirt. So that's what I was talking about before. I like him going curveball to slider. Another thing that I've talked with, Garrett Cole about, a few other guys about, what it's about when you go curveball to slider. It's about when you throw that slider, you try to do everything in your power to take the hump out of that slider. And if you look at the slider here, no hump. That's going to sell fastball after a curveball that does have hump, right? So, like, here's one of the curveballs. Hump. You see? Goes up out of the hand. So now he's associating up out of the hand with breaking ball, right? And he's seen a pretty good version there. But then when he gets to the slider here, there's no humpage. You see, it comes out like a fastball. And so that's why it's so deceptive. Slider after curveball. This was a really good demonstration of it. And also, Trey Gibson got the strikeout exactly how I expected him to, with a really good execution there. So that's 2 outs in the second. All right, here's McMahon. Four seam away strike. Delivery seems pretty good, pretty under control. I feel like he's going to throw a lot of strikes. I'm surprised at his walk rate in AAA. From what I'm looking at, I expect him to be about somewhere between 2 and 3 walks per 9. He's missing by a little, but I feel like that could all be cleaned up with targeting. You know, where the catcher's set up. And I mean, he's also getting that rookie strike zone a little bit. All right, curveball here, 2-1. Loves to throw his curveball behind in the count or in neutral counts to lefties, and why not? And this one really fools McMahon. Like, this shouldn't get a swing, but it shows you it's pretty nasty that it does get a swing. So 2-2. Now he's going to go to the four seam. This one's almost 97. Misses in. He's done that a few times. Man, Alexander could have had 2 more outs for him. And then here comes a hit on a fastball. Yeah, just misses down. And this ball is going to burn Taylor Ward all the way to the wall. McMahon's got that type of juice. So also the fastballs that have gotten hit, or like Wells almost clipped him on the fastball. Right now, he's just like, he's a bit too confident throwing these pitches middle down in the big leagues with this fastball. It's a good fastball, but I don't think it's anything great. I think down in the zone, it's gonna get hit, and that's kind of what we've seen here in the early going. He's gonna have to use this fastball more to the edges and at the top. I expect him to pitch backwards quite a bit. All right, so there's a double for Mac, and we're up to Caballero, who I just saw is keeping his job. They optioned Volpe today. All right. I love his cutter shape, though, I have to say. I'm a fan of his cutter. Cutter gets the chopper to third. This time it's taken care of, and he's through the second inning. He pitched well that inning overall. I mean, definitely, I'd rather you do this than be wild, but he throws a lot of balls down the middle so far. All right, third inning. Trent Grisham.
Hey everyone, it's time for our lucky fan.
Sinker away. So that's the first sinker we've seen to a lefty. And now he's going to go to that curveball. Grisham saw all four-seamers that first at-bat, ended up flying out in foul territory down the line. There's a curveball. He doesn't like that call, but that's all over the zone. Is that what he's saying? He didn't like this call? Let me just see the face on Trent here. Yeah, absolutely, sir. That's a strike. All right, 1-1, fastball, target, middle up, pulls it down in again. Interesting that his misses are mostly pulls. A couple arms, but a lot of pulls. And then 2-1 sinker. So mixes up the fastball types here the second time through. And that seemed to work. And this ball also kind of, Grish didn't quite get to it in the right plane on time. So he gets the ground out there. All right, here comes Ben Rice. Now he's going to start him with the sinker. Remember, he clipped him on a first pitch curveball last time. That's an arm side miss, and now a cutter. This one didn't have the normal lift on it, but it was pretty effective. But they're not going to convert this into an out either. Man, some rough defense behind the kid. He could have had 3 more outs. I'm going to say at least 2 that he should have had. But he could have had 3 more outs. This is just, I know the sun can be tough in Yankee Stadium, but this is not the fault of the pitcher. 81-3 at 56 should be an out. And it looks like Taylor Ward just doesn't make that play. I know he had the one early in the game, so maybe it's a little bit of an equal out situation, but anyway, man on base, and here comes Judge, and I think this is where Judge gets him. So first pitch, sinker in. Judge gives no ground, and now he's going to demolish a curveball. Mentor, he got one in the zone last at-bat, and this time he gets another one in the zone. That's been his only problem with the curveball today. I like the shape, but he's right down the middle with it. He's medium height with it. You got to be bottom of the zone or top of the zone with the curveball in zone. And obviously you can't show that pitch to Judge twice in zone, which he did once the first at-bat, and then here the second at-bat. I don't mind the sinker in first pitch, but he doesn't hit with it. And then this curveball is just on a tee for Judge. So he's got what I would say is good control, but maybe not great command within the zone. Like his delivery, he's going to throw strikes. I think. But he's made a lot of mistakes over the middle, which honestly, like we haven't seen a lot of guys pitching this aggressively over the middle of the plate in a while in a debut. So kid's got some cojones on him. All right, next up, Cody Bellinger. Going to start him with the sinker. So didn't throw any sinkers really early, and now he's going to the sinker here second time through. So this seems to be maybe an Orioles strategy or something. That's a pretty good one. Now to the slider. Remember, he got him to chase one below just like that before. Slider's a really good pitch. I think I'm going to go ahead and rate his slider as his best pitch. Goes for the front door sinker, doesn't convert. Going to go back to that slider down. He's also not pitching out of any tunnels. So he's not, there's not as much, he's not using his misses or anything to set things up. All right, now sinker away.
In this case, these guys.
Just like kind of a high sinker and gets the out he needs. 2 outs there. Here comes Jazz. Gonna flip him a curveball. It would have worked again too, but it didn't. Now he's gonna go to it again. Man, very heavy curveball usage in behind or neutral counts versus lefties. I'd be hunting one. Here's another one. I mean, even the one to Judge was in a behind count. There's a chance curveball's his strike pitch. Sinker up and away, close pitch, but no, and then he's going to get the walk here. So that at-bat just got away from him with 2 outs and nobody on. Here's Dominguez. All right, Command's kind of lost it here in this inning a little bit. There's a cutter. Back to the good shape. Here's the pickoff. Let's check the pickoff. Pretty slow pickoff. Not as slow as me, but slow. Probably not his best move. But there's a little bit of a get my arm in flow. He doesn't just pivot and get rid of it like we've seen some of the better ones. Yeah, it's a little delayed. All right, so 1-1 count. And here comes a 4-seam to Dominguez. Another ball down. This time he does get it off the end, and they convert the third out. So that's it for 3 innings. All right, 4th inning, long at bat coming here with Wells. First pitch, sinker, arm side miss. I never like to throw 0-0 sinkers to lefties away because that open space is so inviting, and you just throw balls. All right, 1-1. Slider below. Leaves it middle in. Gets fortunate again. Wells almost clipped him twice. Slider, they're going to try to get it down, down, down. No, backs it up. Now to the cutter. Weird choice. Top, back door? Yeah, that would be the spot. Good pitch, good foul ball. Now back to the slider down again. Gets the chase, but it's foul. Front door sinker? No, sinker away. Got the swing, but didn't get the miss. And now to the curveball back door. Actually brings it in. Curveball's a good pitch. It's the high one. Because this one at least is high. High enough where for a minute he thinks it's high. Remember, he's been throwing a lot of them in the middle of the zone. Anyway, they didn't call this initially, but this is all over the zone. All right, so there's a strikeout. There's strikeout number 2. One's on a slider, one's on a curveball. All right, Ryan McMahon.
Here's McMahon.
First pitch cutter. That one didn't have the shape, but he does get the strike. Now to the slider.
Double in the 2nd inning.
Really good slider below zone. Really good slider below zone. It's definitely his best pitch. I'm a little concerned about what he's going to throw in zone. Slider back door. Here comes cutter. And he's kind of lost his cutter shape as he's gotten tired. And he got lucky he didn't get a clip there. Very lucky he didn't get hit for a home run there. Got it up just enough to get out of McMahon's swing path. But this ball didn't have any lift on it. It came back down. Man, he could have given up like 4 or 5 homers in this game.
High fly ball.
I mean, I'd rather you be aggressive, but, I mean, man, he's made a lot of pitches, thrown a lot of balls in the middle. And that one didn't have any shape on it. All right, 2 outs in the 4th. Caballero, first pitch, backup slider, strike. Now he's going to throw another slider here. That's a good pitch. And gets the little chop out, so... Executing the slider better than the other pitches, but man, just throwing a lot of curveballs in the zone, cutters in the zone, fastballs in the zone, down. All right, 5th inning. It was still a tie game at this point. 3-3. First pitch, cutter to Grisham. And you know what? The shape is starting to deteriorate still. I mean, it's only 8.5. This ball definitely starts to come down a bit. He's lucky again. He needs to maintain that 10 or more vert on the cutter. But again, this pitch is right down the middle. Fouled off. This is 3rd time through. All right, slider.
About his status.
Yep, great pitch, but this time good take now that he's seen him a few times. So they go to it again. Another pretty good take, even though it's away. And now to the sinker. Hit hard and good placement. So Grisham put a 4-seam in play and sinkers the last 2 at-bats. You can really see the 3rd at-bat penalty in all its glory right here. Grisham was on everything. Spit on the slider all of a sudden. Now he's seen everything he's got. Now he's seen the sinker and hits it $111. Just happens to go right at the fielder for the first out of the inning. Man, it's on full display today. All right, next up is going to be Judge, right? No, it's Benny Rice. Oh, it's Goldschmidt now. Goldschmidt in the game. So cutter called strike. What happened to Rice? Slider. Swing and miss below. So that's a pretty good combo right there. And that's really good slider execution. Yep, but then he follows it up with bad slider execution. And if Goldie's locked in, he hammers that pitch. Backdoor sinker, nowhere close. Hasn't hit on that pitch yet today. Slider again. Good pitch. Good foul ball. Sinker, backdoor attempt again. Still hasn't hit on that pitch.
4-game set.
If he can hit on that pitch, he'll do some things.
Grounded, shortstop. Alexander.
And then cutter. This one, still, it's only 8.2. It's better than the 5 or 6, but... All right, Judge up again. Another long at-bat. Slider down, ball. Trying to get through 5 here. I feel like he's been battling. Ooh, slider to Judge. This one is very hittable, but again, I think this is his best pitch. Judge just is off that. Man, they're gonna triple up. This is so dangerous. You better get it down. Backs it up. Now to the cutter.
2-2 on Judge.
It's the broadcaster.
Man, another dangerous pitch, but got kind of fortunate that it was a different shape than the slider. At least the cutter and the slider are distinct enough with vertical break. Like this is this is 8, and the other ones have been negative, so there's still separation there. It's just it's very he plays a dangerous game in the zone, I feel like. All right, slider. Got him out front, fouls it off. Sinker, it's open.
Just missed.
Man, he had him. He had him. He had Judgy right here on a happy accident, but they don't challenge. I mean, he still hasn't executed this pitch, though. All right, now to 3-2. Man, he had it. He got through 5 there. Dangerous pitch, hammered foul. And then he's going to go ahead and walk him, and that's going to be the end of his day. So pretty competitive pitch there, too. But AJ spits on that. So, man, this has been such an interesting debut. I've never seen this guy pitch before. Let's do the pitching delivery from the sides. So here's third base side. We need homeboy to move out of the way. All right, pretty normal wind up. Gets weightless on his leg lift, which is very good. Gets a little bit of tilt. Other than that, he's very standard. Honestly, it's kind of a cookie cutter delivery for me. I don't know if it's good, bad, indifferent, but I don't think it's deceptive. I do think that it's pretty easily controlled, and that's why I think he's going to be in the strike zone. My theory is at least that he'll be in the strike zone. But I don't think he has command within the strike zone, or at least he didn't demonstrate it in this game. You know, again, none of these videos mean much. It's a small sample. But I love trying to learn about a guy in his first career game and just get a feel for him now that we're going to watch him pitch every couple days. All right, let's get this one in slow motion. I do like how he gets weightless on that leg lift, but other than that, I mean, yeah, it's pretty standard. Going with the high socks. He's got the mustache. All right, let's hit the takeaways from this game. The big takeaway for me is that the slider's a really good pitch, right? The slider is what he's going to want to ride. That is where the whiff came from. He located that pitch. He executed that pitch more often than the other pitches. I think the curveball's good, but he didn't execute. He kind of threw it down the middle. And you see the zone percentages here, 73% in the zone for curveball. Perfect world, I don't think you want it that high, or at least not right down the middle to where he threw a lot of them. But that's one thing. Now, the cutter was another interesting pitch. The cutter averaged 9 and -5 today, which is good, probably above average, plus with the velocity about 91. When it was 10 or more, it looked really effective. There was a couple that were lower as the game progressed that frightened me a touch. So we'll see, but I do like the contrast between the cutter averaging 9 vert and the slider averaging -6 vert, and they're both around the same horizontal break, 3 versus 5. So I like that a lot. Curveball, I think, is a good pitch, but it's kind of low spin. Seems like that's his strike pitch, but I don't know how he's gonna do on contact in this league. Outside of sinker, maybe, which he didn't locate very well today, and maybe cutter if he can keep that vert up. I'm a little worried about him on contact. I think he'll throw enough strikes, but he won't command very well in the zone here on the first go through. I'd like to see that get better. If he can learn to hit with that 2-seam that they tried a few times, glove side, that would behoove him big time. But I'm gonna rank his pitches: slider, curveball, cutter, sinker, 4-seam for me. Not enough first pitch strikes, so that could all clean up a little bit. I don't know, just a very interesting debut. You can see the approach angle, nothing really that steep. His arm looks like it's right around the edge of the strike zone on release. You know, that's a 4-seam fastball. That's a curveball. There's a lot of these blues in the middle. A lot of blues in the middle of the plate. And to me, that was, too many pitches in the middle of the plate. But other than that, I don't know. Orioles need him. You never know when you're going to get the call to the big leagues. Trey Gibson gets the call today. And I thought he battled really hard. He competed his tail off. He wasn't afraid of the strike zone. I think that's probably the thing I was most impressed with. Wasn't afraid to attack these really great hitters. Has a huge mix, willingness to throw any pitch at any time. I think that how he uses these pitches will evolve. Like he was doing a lot of arm side sinkers to lefties. I mean, if he can learn to hit that glove side sinker, that will open a lot up for him. And then just be a little more precise with that curveball. I don't know. Curious to watch him in game 2, game 3, game 4. He's only 23. A lot of room, lots to like here. A lot of room for improvement for sure. I don't know. I don't have a great feel for this one yet. I'm gonna give him a big congratulations for making your debut. Huge moment in Yankee Stadium. I mean, that's awesome. He went right at guys. He didn't get deterred when Ben Rice hit the home run. Kept flipping curveballs in there. Judge clipped him. But they kind of walked into that just because he saw a curveball earlier. And overall, I mean, he was through the 5th inning. Should have been 5 innings, 3 runs. So I'll give him credit for that. Definitely. And big congrats. I mean, awesome day no matter what. And that's it for this video. Thanks. If you like it, please like it, subscribe to it, post it on an Orioles Reddit, some sort of Reddit, if you think there's anybody that might be interested in learning about Trey Gibson. And I will see you guys on the next video. All right. Have a great night.